As with anybody who races cars in the big leagues, it wasn't always fun in games for Marty Robbins.
Ribbon of darkness over me since my true love walked out the door. Tears I never had before. Ribbon of darkness over me.
Marty knew that an accident once in a while was just all part of racing. And speaking of racing, we're preparing to do just that as we have a dry half-mile track here at Nashville International Speedway. The pace car preparing to take the field out single file for a few pace laps to complete the drawing process. And bumping along behind the pace car is our leader, Darrell Waltrip. Now, he told Brock Yates earlier he'll be making an immediate pit stop to replace what is now a completely flat tire.
Boy, you know that feeling, Steve. I'm sure we've all had one of those things along the edge of the freeway. But one difference, he's got a bunch of guys led by Junior Johnson back there in the pits that are going to change that thing faster than you and I could open the trunk.
And, you know, Junior's not going to tolerate any mistakes in this pit stop because the whole crew has known for a long time it was going to happen.
So they're ready. Of course, Darrell can't pass that pace car until he gets to the entrance of the pit lane that you can see off on the right-hand side of your screen. So there he comes down, lumping his way down in there, and Harry Gant's coming in as well behind him. So we're going to have two guys making a stop, but the important one, the big player right now, is Darrell Waltrip as he bounces into the Junior Johnson pit. There's the crew ready. In fact, Junior's going to handle the jack down there. Harry Gant's crew as well. He's sitting in third place. They're going to work to get his right side tires changed too.
And Brock Joe Ruttman also just came into the pit area. But here is the key guy, the hometown hero, Darrell Waltrip, the Junior Johnson crew putting fuel in the car as well, and he is off very quickly.
Well, he's back on the racetrack, but let's not forget one thing. He's got a heavier car right now, and he's got a fresh set of tires. So it's going to take him perhaps a couple of laps to get those fresh tires scrubbed in as we watch Harry Gant get underway, too. Both those cars are going to be maybe 100, 150 pounds heavier than everybody else because they've got that extra load of fuel on board.
Let's don't forget he no longer leads the Marty Robbins 420. He will pull up in line as the last of the cars that are still on the same lap. In fact, our new leader will be this man, Bobby Allison, number 22, the first driver to lead other than Darrell all evening long.
And Bobby is, of course, one of the all-time greats in this league. He will be trying very hard not only to stay ahead of Shepard and Ruttman and Bodine and Labonte. Parenthetically, those four guys are four of the young lions in this business. Not too many of the old vets in that top five other than Allison. But more importantly, Bobby Allison knows that he's got some cars between himself and Waltrip, who's now back in 9th place. And his job is to use that open track ahead of him when the green flag falls to get as much advantage, as much of a big lead over him before Darrell can work his way through traffic.
Now, Bodine is going to give up his place that we just saw because he is coming to the pits in the 88 car. He was 4th coming in here. He no longer will be. It's not a problem right now. But earlier we heard Bobby Allison tell us just how congested, and he feels even dangerous, this particular pit road at Nashville Speedway can be. Now, the NASCAR rules say that the reigning national champion, in this case it's Darrell Waltrip, have their choice, first choice of where they want to pit, followed by the leading qualifiers. Brock Yates had a chance earlier to talk to some of the competitors about pit road.
Well, we picked the first pit coming out at the end of the pit road so that there's nobody can block you in, and you got a straight shot out of the pit. So it gives you a little bit of advantage because you never are blocked in the pit.
And this can be a trouble here at Nashville, I understand. You can really get jammed in here.
That's true. They've had some pretty bad little bang-ups here on pit road, and because some of them gets blocked in, they try to come out in front of oncoming traffic. And pit road's so narrow, the tires are laying all out in the middle of the pit road, so it's an advantage to be as far down the pit road towards the front as you can be, so you can get back on the racetrack without being bothered by somebody blocking you in.
It gets to be a circus on pit road, but it's not that bad. We've got to put up with it about everywhere we go, and it's just one of those things you got to put up with.
Usually it works out pretty good. Usually the guys running the lead lap pit the first lap, and then the guys a lap down pit the next lap, so it works out pretty good.
How about pit lane? I understand that can get awful hairy during a caution.
It gets awful close. It's real dark in there. It's real narrow. It's about room for about 10 cars, and they try to put 30 in there. And it's really, really dangerous. You don't mind running on the racetrack, but you hate like a son gun to make a pit stop.
Always count on number 43 to tell you how it is. You can also always count on pit stops having a big impact on the standings. While we were away, a number of cars pitted, And you can see the changes here on our leaderboard. Bobby Allison still number 1, followed by Morgan Shepherd now, Brock.
And a familiar name in 4th place, a Petty. Not King Richard, but his son Kyle. As they come off the 4th turn, the green is out, we're racing again.
Well, one thing we know for sure, Brock, is all these drivers are fresh and ready to race. They've had a nice rest during the rains. Bobby Allison, car number 22, the first man other than Darrell Waltrip to lead the Marty Robbins 420, is enjoying it now. Morgan Shepherd, the highest he has run all evening long in car number 2, followed by Bonnet, Petty, and Earnhardt.
The car down on the inside there is Ricky Rudd, so he's a lap car. He's going to dip to the inside and let the fast guys pass. You got to wonder whether Neil Bonnet, who's back there in 3rd place in that red and white 75, was able to make any corrections during this yellow flag period. Remember, he was in 2nd for a long time, then fell way back. Kyle Petty still in 4th, Earnhardt 5th. Now, strong runner Dale Earnhardt is, you know that. He doesn't like being back in 5th. He only knows one place where he's happy, and that's in the lead.
And Kyle Petty can feel Earnhardt's presence right now. And that's Darrell Waltrip right up behind Earnhardt.
Absolutely. Now, that's the question. Did they get the car back into shape during that pit stop? Remember, he was absolutely dominant in the early phases of this race. But now he's stuck in traffic. He's going to have to work his way back up through the traffic. And as I said earlier, he's got a set of fresh tires and a little heavier automobile. So it's not going to be as easy as it was earlier in the going.
How about our roller skating Morgan Shepherd here, Brock? He, at one point, pulled right up on Allison.
Yes, sir. Well, Morgan is a very good race driver. He skates well, drives well. But now, look at this. Down inside in that yellow and white car, that number 11, it's Darrell Waltrip trying to muscle his way down on the inside past some of the slower cars. And he's right up on Kyle Petty's bumper. On the outside, he's got Dale Earnhardt, so that's a little three-way tug-of-war in there for 5th and 6th place.
Now, Waltrip, who has proven that he can outrun everybody on the racetrack, now has to be very conservative, wouldn't you think, Brock? And not make a mistake, not get tagged into the wall or get boxed in where maybe he spins that car.
Well, this is just one of the realities of short-track racing. And it's really the more normal thing to have happen to a driver like Waltrip than to be out in the open like he was earlier. He's used to running in heavy traffic. He just pushed his way past Petty. Now he's up on Earnhardt's bumper. He's going to have to try to get past Earnhardt. But I'll tell you one thing, getting by Dale is not going to be as easy as it was with Kyle. Kyle is just going to be a fine driver, but he's still a little bit inexperienced. And when he's got a man like Waltrip on his bumper, he's probably going to give way easier than Earnhardt. But, of course, Earnhardt is, in turn, having to go at Neil Bonnet up there.
Whatever problems Neil Bonnet was having earlier have obviously been repaired because he is racing. And right now, his main opposition trying to get around him on the inside is Dale Earnhardt. Darrell Waltrip still trying to find enough room to get safely by into 3rd.
Well, one question that's being answered right now is whether or not Darrell Waltrip's early dominance of this race was horsepower or handling. It certainly has to be handling, because you'll notice that both Earnhardt and Bonnet pull him a little bit down the straights, but Darrell comes right inside him on the corner. So that number 11 car is definitely handling. But watch this. Notice that Earnhardt will pull maybe a half a car length on him down the straightaway. So Darrell uses the corners to gain an advantage. He tries to duck underneath him, and you can pretty well say, generalize, Steve, that a car that can run low on a racetrack like Nashville is a better handling automobile. If you can keep the car down low like Darrell is doing right now, it means that thing is really hooked up. But still, Earnhardt pulls him again down the back chute. But there goes Waltrip again underneath him, but he just quite can't get enough of a shot at him coming out that corner to pass.
Well, you scrub off a little bit of speed, too, Brock, when you get down that low.
Absolutely. But there goes Bonnet, there goes Earnhardt, and there goes Waltrip. He's going to pinch Earnhardt down. Yes, he's got him down the back straight. He does push through. He's going to pinch Dale into the corner and take a shot at Bonnet, and he's going to get underneath Bonnet as well. So he passes 2 cars in 2 corners and puts himself up to 3rd place.
Well, Darrell Waltrip certainly showing tonight why a man of Junior Johnson's credentials would hire him as his driver. Waltrip on the left-hand side of your screen, followed by Bonnet and Earnhardt. But still leading this race is Bobby Allison, followed by Morgan Shepherd, Brock.
So we've got the old pro Bobby Allison, our roller skating pal Morgan Shepherd, and back there coming at him like a freight train, the number 11 car of Darrell Waltrip.
Carmen.